Our next guest is Dr. Ivonne Diaz Claisse from Hispanics, Inspiring Student Performance and Achievement.
Thank you so much. It's such a great honor to be here. Thank you, Captain Love, for the invitation. And what an amazing time to be together. When we think about Esperanza, a celebration of Hispanic heritage and hope, I think about our heritage and how we need to take time to really celebrate and share where we come from. I think a lot about, my abuela's abanico that I have with me here. I don't know if you can see it, or, some of the decorations that I have around my table to remind me of my Puerto Rican heritage. I also wanted to take a moment to reflect of a great example of someone that is so proud of her heritage, Yasmin Camacho Queen. Someone that grew up in the United States that said, I want to celebrate my heritage and I'm going to participate in the Olympics and represent the island of Puerto Rico. That to me was so inspirational. And I want our youth to feel that pride, to feel the pride of being bilingual, the pride of celebrating the sacrifices and the efforts of their parents and great parents that have taken them to be where they are today. I also have to take a moment and step back and really celebrate what we're seeing in the leadership levels. Having Honorable Carlos del Toro as the U.S. Secretary of Navy, the Secretary of Education, Dr. Miguel Cardona, astronauts like Joe Acaba, and of course, Sonia Sotomayor. These are some of the individuals that today we can celebrate together, celebrate their accomplishments, but remember that role models provide a vision, a proof for who we aspire to be. And today we are focusing on our youth in my presentation, but we have to remember we are role models for each other, and we need to take that as part of what we can do to be positioned for those opportunities for advancement. I also want to reflect on, when Hispanic Heritage Month started, September 15, and I went to do my work and I checked on Google and I saw this, celebration of Dr. Idaura Murillo Rode. And I thought, wow, this is giving me hope to see that Google is taking the time to celebrate Latinos like her, and someone that started the National Association of Hispanic Nurses, someone that called attention to our Latino community back in 1975. So that brings me esperanza. Of course, being here today, I told Captain Love that this is such a special occasion for me. I wanted to do something really special this morning. So I did rolos for my hair. I celebrated my heritage, those memories of my mom every Sunday doing the rolos for her sisters and her daughters and my cousins, all looking, with our rolos. So, I just want you to know how special it is for me to be here, to celebrate you, your accomplishments, your inspirational stories. Thank you for your great commitment to freedom and your inspirational courage to protect our people. I am so moved, and I have a lot of hope. Of course, you will be asking, why is Dr. Diaz holding the hand of a wax figure of Einstein? You will ask, this makes the students laugh when I show this picture. They say, did you meet Einstein? I'm like, I'm not that old. But why am I showing this? Because I grew up in Puerto Rico, and I also had falling in love with math at a young age. When my friends were falling in love with each other, I was falling in love with algebra. And And, I started to wonder, what am I going to do with this love of math? What am I going to do with this passion? And I went to the books, the encyclopedias, and found some role models that really did not validate my dreams because they were not from Puerto Rico, because I didn't relate to their stories, and that was quite a challenge. But something amazing happened. When I went to Universidad de Puerto Rico to study mathematics, by the second year, finally, I had a Puerto Rican mathematician professor. And I can remember vividly what I felt when I left that classroom. I just felt empowered. I felt that if he did it, I could do it too. And that's when my journey really took off, and what I call my unpredictable mathematical journey. Coming to the United States and being so blessed to go to Cornell University to study engineering. I always say behind any good engineer that there is a very good mathematician. So I was very lucky to partner with different individuals and help each other, and succeeded at that master's degree in engineering. Then I went to University of Maryland, just following the steps of the professor that inspired me. He was a graduate from University of Maryland. That's the impact role models have on our lives. And then ultimately getting that PhD in mathematics and really achieving that impossible dream, like many people doubted that was possible for a Puerto Rican young student. And celebrating, I want to celebrate that today. I represent thousands of Latino role models that have said yes to our invitation to sharing stories, and I want to celebrate each one of their accomplishments today. Looking back, I think a lot about positivity, the perseverance, but really the positivity. Something that I know we share in our Latino culture. Al mal tiempo, buena cara. That's something that we hear our families say a lot. And that's what I did. If you were going to say, did you feel discrimination? Did you feel that you did not belong? And being a woman, Latina, studying in math departments where most of the professors are not Latinos, not female women, I just was so positive about the opportunity. I focused on the positive, on that opportunity, and that really, really helped me complete that journey. Then I took a decision to go to industry, to work for AT&T. And there I was involved with the Hispanic Business Resource Group. And when I hear about Anso and the things that you are doing, it just reminds me to that journey, that sense of familia that I was able to have. Think about this. This was back when there was only about 22 million Latinos in the United States. And I was, kind of connecting with the Latinos in the company, and we were celebrating our culture. That was it was so important for us. I remembered having 88 engineers doing the cha-cha-cha at lunchtime. I was so proud of that. But then something happened. We started to say, hey, why don't we help each other by practicing our technical talks and our presentations with each other? Why don't we invite our leaders to talk about, the potential opportunity of working and producing products that are more inclusive? And we started helping the corporation, helping our professional development, but also that was the invitation to do more in our communities. And that's where my kind of aha moment happened. Going to Newark, to a school, to share my story, and just kind of like showing up from my busy, crazy life, technical and as a parent, and walking into this auditorium and so naively asking the principal, how many of the students are Latino here? And he looked at me like I had just come from another planet. It was over 95% of the students were Latino. And I was like, wow. I told my story. And at the end, there was a line of students that wanted my autograph. I told them that as a mathematician, you discover new mathematics. And they thought that was the coolest thing. And they stood in the line, and I signed autograph in math notebooks. And then this girl in this picture told me, because of you, I will also pursue a PhD. And that was it. fast forward to now, I quit my job at AT&T. I told my friends there is something important we need to do together, and I found this paper published by ETS, Educational Testing Service, which talks about America's perfect storm. We have the changing demographics, the need for highly skilled professionals, globalization of services, baby boomers retiring. This is the perfect storm. What are we going to do? So it was kind of a coincidence when I had that awareness of the changing demographics. I found this paper and I found colleagues at ETS that understood the urgency of the work. And I decided to reach out to friends and say, we are going to launch a new initiative, a project that will bring government, public and private sector together so we can all share our stories with students in middle schools, and that we can change the way they see themselves, that we can change the expectations of the teachers, that we can validate dreams. And that's what we've been doing. We've been doing this nonstop since 2008. At that point, we had an activity, an event. We call it the HISPA Role Model Program Kickoff and Recruiting Event. We are going to have our 14th kickoff tomorrow. This event brought together 100 individuals. And just like that, we partnered with 4 schools and we did 24 school visits. Fast forward, it doesn't matter where we are. We see the students. And every time we go to a new state or a new city, I go and share my story. And I will always find that student, like the student in the 2017 Miami photo. He came out to me and said, I'm going to be a mathematician too. So those are the things that I cherish in this journey, to see the power of our stories. We literally want to bring the role models to the schools, but we also want to bring them to our corporations, and we want to bring them to university campuses. So it's just like those 3 steps. Of course, we all know about the statistics. We know how the population continues to grow, and we know that still less than 3% of our Latinos have advanced degrees, and how do we change them, and how we continue to change them. Also, we need to be very aware that by 2036, 1 in 3 students in the public schools are projected to be of Hispanic heritage. And if we don't step into the classroom, virtually, on demand, or in person, to share those stories, how are the students going to find those journeys to follow, those steps to learn? I wanted to talk a little bit more about that Mal Tiempo Buena Cara, and I reflect on that March 21st, 2020, where we were set out to do our youth conference at Columbia University. We had 200 students, individuals, volunteers ready to go, and we had to cancel the conference. And I had to stop and think, how are we going to bring our program to the schools? And, kind of like it's like a mind shift, just a decision that you make that, yes, we can do it. I thought of Dolores Huerta and Si Se Puede. I thought of Lori Hernandez, You Got This. And of course, Joe Acaba, who I invited to speak at the youth conference 5 times. And then he finally was able to say yes. And reminded me of his story, where he applied to be an astronaut 5 times until he got in. So I thought of these individuals, and I said, we are going to change how we do everything in this world. And we decided, just like that, to start recording stories. We have a project called 20,000 Inspirational Stories for Our Youth. And we have built a platform that the students can find stories by government or corporations. They can find stories if we are employees at academia or non-profit sector. They can find stories by really thinking about some of the obstacles they're facing. They can say, my family is struggling with poverty. Let me look at stories that talk about pathways out of poverty. it's been an amazing project that's bringing so many of us together. And today, of course, is an invitation for you to join these efforts. But we also were able to do our programming virtually. And two things I want to share. One is that we hosted 341 school visits virtually. And every one of these visits was an individual of Latino heritage and others sharing a story that really talks about the pathways forward. It talks about the non-cognitive skills, the importance of advocacy, the importance of perseverance. And we were holding our seats waiting to see the results of the surveys because we had changed the way we deliver our programs. We were going in person to the schools, and we learned that the results are as positive as when we met the students in person. So now the sky is the limit. We can, in the future, do our programming in person, virtually, live, or provide our stories on demand. I also want to celebrate that Rear Admiral Dennis Velez accepted our invitation to be part of a brand new event. We did a conference for our students, 300 plus students, middle schoolers, participating. 12 companies did STEM hands-on activities with the kids. And we had the U.S. Secretary of Education, Miguel Cardona, share with the students that he also was an English learner. That was very powerful. And if this doesn't bring you hope, right? This is so hopeful for all of us to know that we can do this work, that we can expand these efforts, and that we can really empower our students. When you think about, but what is it about my story that I can say and I can tell you, and we say that again and again to our partners and our volunteers, you have an amazing story to share. We need to eradicate the lack of role models as a reason why our Latino students don't pursue higher education. It's doable. That's what I'm setting out to do. This is something we're doing every single day, and many of you have been part of that. We need to understand that the stories bring self-confidence and self-efficacy to our students. Our stories bring, a challenge to the teachers that had lower expectations for our Latino youth. And we're telling her and him and that the administrators look at us. These are the Latinos that are changing America and providing and supporting and creating and inventing. And you need to have higher expectations for our youth as well. And of course, how is a student going to expand that dream? Go beyond from what they see around them and help them set those goals. So that's why your story is so important. I also want to take a moment to celebrate our volunteers and celebrate that we were awarded the Presidential Award for Excellence in Science, Mathematics, and Engineering Mentoring. This was an incredible honor for us, and it brought attention to our work. And I want to thank once again all the volunteers, all the funders that have been part of this initiative, all the partners, many of them here. So I also want to take a quick moment to showcase some of our volunteers already from just a few months that we have been working together. Thank you, all of you. We know this year we're going to do more, and we can't wait for the year to start. So officially tomorrow, we are launching, and we're launching our program. Everyone is welcome. The event is from the event is from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And we have an amazing group of individuals, including 3 students that were HISPA students in 2012 and 2015 that are coming back to say thank you. Just in closing, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the secondary effects of working together, right? We are here to make it easy for individuals to really execute on those corporate social responsibility goals. We are here to work with the organizations to empower the organization members to become community leaders. There's this kind of evolution that we see on our volunteers as they participate more and more in our programs. Everything from public speaking to networking and building and learning from each other has been very inspirational to us. And of course, we are collaborating with over 30 organizations, so the visibility, the networking, the kind of like looking that we're doing something together, that it doesn't matter if we're public or private sector, this is a problem in our society that we can eradicate. It is very hopeful. So with that, I just want to really thank you for providing me the opportunity to be here, to share a little bit of my story, to celebrate the accomplishments, your accomplishments, our accomplishments, and to continue to dream big for the future of our country. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ivonne. That was awesome, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow because I'm a role model for you. 100% on board, and we're going to bring in more Anso members, and hopefully we can bring in some NNOA members with Admiral St. Harris there to support this effort across the board. So muchas gracias